So folks, I'm going to begin again. Welcome people to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and Corey.
Hello, everybody.
Unlocking Your Truth is a talk show about metaphysics and spirituality. Every week we talk about a topic under that umbrella. And we broadcast from 101.7 FM across the Fraser Valley in BC from a radio station called CIVL, and we broadcast from the unceded territory of the Stolo Nation. And we also have a podcast that you can catch on all the major podcasting platforms and from my website, from the podcast feed there. Plus, if you're really keen and you really enjoy the show, we encourage you to join our Awaken Your Psychic Abilities Facebook group and to follow my YouTube channel, because we pre-record the show a few weeks in advance, and that way you get ahead of the game.
Yes, you do.
You certainly do.
Actually, weeks ahead, because I think we're 6 weeks ahead on the show these days.
Wow, that's 6 weeks ahead of the material that's coming out on air. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's because our station manager forgets to put it online sometimes. Oh, well.
Oh, well.
You're not listening, are you, Aaron? I hope not.
Tonight's show is, the title of tonight's show, it's a bit of a long title, is
Why is it so hard to change anything on your list of beliefs and values?
Well, thank you, Corey. You said it, so I don't have to. So
Yes,
we're talking about belief systems. And why would we even ask about changing your beliefs? Because your beliefs inform the experience of reality that you get. So if you're interested in manifestation, if you're interested in the law of abundance, then this is a good show for you to be watching, because your beliefs directly influence what shows up in your life. So why might you want to be able to change your beliefs in the first place? If you are getting an experience of life that is not what you prefer, then you might want to look at what you're believing.
But I think the more important thing with beliefs is that it's not just that you're not getting you're getting what you believe in, but you're not even getting what you believe in. You're getting what somebody else believes in most cases.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Your belief systems and your values are created outside of yourself.
Or they can be. Absolutely. So first of all, let's ask the question. Well, this is an interesting question. What if you had no beliefs? What if you had zero beliefs, not a single belief? And when I thought about that question, the answer I got was, you probably wouldn't even exist. You wouldn't even have a body. You wouldn't even have an experience of the world, because your beliefs underpin everything about you. In a way, you have to have beliefs in order to even be here, in order to navigate your experience of reality. If you didn't believe anything about anything, what would that be like? I think you have to believe you have a body to have a body. You have to believe there is a world to be in the world. And so I think that our belief structure informs everything about us. It underpins our entire existence. So, and I was thinking about, well, and just to Corey's point, where do your beliefs come from? So when you're born into this world, you're kind of this fresh bundle of joy, fresh from God, all that, light and deliciousness that you are. And then there are people around you who say, well, I've got to teach you about this world. Here you are, you don't really know anything. You don't know how to speak or anything. You don't know how to think. So let me teach you the ways of this world. And depending on what parents you get, depending on what caretakers you get, they will help to program you with beliefs. And their goal is to keep you safe quite often. It's to keep you safe. It's to help you navigate reality. Don't touch that, it's hot, you'll hurt yourself. Is a belief, in the stove being hot. And so right there, you're like, I often think of the analogy of when you get a computer and you haven't put any programs on the computer yet. And then you put a bunch of different programs into the computer operating system. And that tells the computer what to do. It tells the computer how to behave. So when you come into this world, you get programmed like that. If your parents are very fearful people, they might teach you to be afraid of the world. If your parents are very careless people and they don't pay attention to you so that you have some kind of accident that hurts you, you might learn from that experience to be afraid of the world. So we pick up our beliefs from the people around us, the key influences, the ones that are really important in our upbringing. But also we lay down our beliefs through our life experience. So you could, like I said, you could have a very early experience that causes you to believe that the world is not a safe place. Depending on that framework of beliefs that you lay down really early on, you're going to be creating your experience of reality through those beliefs. Because the law of attraction says, in our world, this is how it works. Whatever energy signal you're transmitting, that's what's going to get reflected back at you. So if you believe the world isn't safe, then the universe will reflect back at you confirmation of that belief, the world isn't safe. So maybe you'll meet some scary people. Maybe you'll have some scary experiences along the way. And this is how our world works. We've got time and space so that we can see the results of how we are having our energy. So you start with the belief the world is frightening. Then give some time and space, a frightening experience shows up on your timeline. And then you go, oh, look at that. Wow, I always believed the world was scary, and look, here is this situation proving it to me. So then you take that on and it magnifies that belief even more. Now I really believe the world is scary, and then give it time and space and you'll have it reflected back at you again until you learn, you know what? I am actually the center of my own personal universe. I am actually the one who is creating this reality. For this to be showing up in my reality, what must I be believing? I must be believing the world is a scary place. Can I change that belief? The answer is yes, you can. And if you do, if you successfully change that belief, then what's going to be reflected back at you will be something different. It will no longer be that the world is a scary place.
Most people don't believe that they're in control of changing those beliefs, that they're inert within them. But how many of you out there right now, just a comment yes or no, how many of you believe it's difficult to change a belief or a value? What do you think? Then I'm going to, if Dr. Leslie would allow, I'm going to give a great little test, and you'll see whether it is or isn't easy to change a belief.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And just a comment that one of the reasons it is so hard to change your beliefs is exactly what I was just explaining. Because it's proven to you over and over again that it's true, except it's not true. It's just a reflection of you coming back at you. It's just a mirroring effect. You know, I believe all men are angry, then maybe I'll attract an angry man into my life. But not all men are angry. That's not true. But if I believe it, the ones showing up in my reality may very well be.
So let's Dr. Leslie, let's look at changing beliefs. And I'd like to play with the people that are listening. We can't get them all to answer because I'm going to be talking, but at the same time, let's just look at a relationship. Many of us have had relationships, good relationships, strong relationships. Some of you may be married, some of you may be single. Regardless of who you are, at some point in time, you have some form of a relationship, or you will have some form of a relationship. In that relationship, if you're experiencing one, or if you haven't, a lot of people have told you that your partner, your true partner, the one that you end up being with in a strong, healthy relationship, you'll be honest with them. However, you might tell them 80 or 85% of your truth. Some of their truth you'll keep inside of you and you'll never share with anybody, because sometimes it's not the most beautiful truth, right? Okay. Now, so let's say 85% or 80%, whatever. Now, we've all had good friends, very, very close friends. And those friends, I mean, you trust them with your life, just like you trust your partner with your life. And these friends, you tell them probably 80, 85%, or even 90% of who you are. Most of you probably would agree with that. Now, here's the interesting part. That 10% or so that you don't tell your spouse, you would tell your friend, and there's about 10% in there that you would tell you wouldn't tell your friend, but you would tell your partner. It's very interesting. And then there's a small percentage in there that you would tell a perfect stranger, but you wouldn't tell either of them. Does everybody agree with that, or nod your head so I can see you? There you go. So we think about that for a second. Now, if you're in a relationship with a partner at this point in time, there's nothing I could tell you about that partner, or if you're in the future, there would be nothing I could tell you about that partner that would change that belief, that love, that trust that you have in that person. That would be understandable. But I can. If I turned to you and said, your partner just ran away with your best friend romantically, they disappeared. How long, and you knew it was true, well, like you believed me, how long would it take you to change your belief system in both of those people? And how long would that change in belief system last you? Think about that for a minute. And that holds true with everything in your that holds true with everything in your life. You can change your belief in anything if the right stimulus comes in, and you can provide the right stimulus. Right, Dr. Leslie?
Yeah, absolutely. You can. You can change your belief in anything. And Corey's given you an example of how you naturally change your beliefs. You change your beliefs on the basis of a new piece of information, I guess, in his example. But you can also change your beliefs using what I might call energy techniques, through meditation, through working with your internal framework of beliefs. So you can have a practice which I would call de-energizing beliefs. So nullifying them, neutralizing them, eliminating them from your system. And so by a process of one of the fundamentals really of spiritual development is know thyself. So by a process of really observing yourself and witnessing yourself and witnessing what's showing up in your life and asking the question, well, what must I believe for this to be showing up in my life? You can find out the core beliefs that underpin your reality. And then you can ask the question, is this a supporting belief or is it a non-supporting belief? And if it's a non-supporting belief, you can use energy techniques to neutralize it, to dissolve it, to de-energize it, so that that's no longer a vibrational component of your energy field. And it's funny that we're talking about this tonight, actually, Corey, because I have a manifestation course. It's not up on my website yet. I've taken one group of students through it, and I was just working on the copy for the website today. And we have a whole module. Well, we have more than a whole module. We start the course by saying, getting people to keep a vibrational diary so that they can observe, how am I feeling at certain intervals through the day? What am I thinking at certain intervals through the day? And what am I believing? So that the person in the course starts to build up a picture of their vibration. Because you can sit in meditation and you can move yourself into a wonderful space during that meditation. But what are you doing, morning, noon, and night vibrationally? What are you doing when you're at work? What are you doing? And most of us, our vibrations fluctuating. It's wobbling. It's going up and down. It's going in and out, depending on what we are, what's up in our system. And so by doing that, you can actually start to develop really great insights into you and your personal vibration. And you can start to, once you know what it is that you're believing, once you know what the vibration that you're putting out is, then you can start to interact with that and create positive change within that vibration and actually turn your life around. And the first group of students that I took through that course, we had some amazing results, actually. People changing their careers, having new jobs, before the course. It's a 10-week course, before, halfway through the course. So it was quite successful. And one of the big things we were doing was changing belief systems. I have to go to a break now.
That was a quick first part.
You're listening to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and Corey, talking about belief systems this evening. Welcome back, listeners. You're tuning in to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and with Corey. Tonight's episode it's about belief systems. And we're asking the question, why is it so hard to change on anything on your list of beliefs and values?
Yes, I have a couple of comments here from our guests tonight. Letitia says, I think it's difficult to know how to change beliefs. And it can be difficult to know how to change beliefs unless you know how to change your beliefs. And Nate says, releasing beliefs I've been programmed with is something I release down my grounding cord during meditation, but it doesn't really feel like anything is happening. How do I know if this is working?
That's a great question. Yeah. So how do you know if it's working? Is anything in your reality shifting? Here's the thing that happens on this. When you release something down your grounding, you are changing your energy instantly. Because when we do this energy work as spirit, the changes happen instantly, like this. You send it down the grounding, it's gone. However, you've made the change in spirit, but your life, your body exists in time and space. It takes the body, time and space to catch up to the change that you made. It takes your reality, time and space to catch up to the change that you've made. So what happens with people is they do the energy work and then something shows up that's still in accordance with the old belief pattern. And they go, oh, it didn't work. And then as soon as they go, oh, it didn't work, they stop believing that and then they're back to square one. So part of this is to have the patience for the reality shift to show up, and to keep holding the vibration of the change until the reality shift shows up and shows you and demonstrates to you that it's worked. So part of it, that's faith. That's why all the spiritual teachings talk about faith. So you make the change as spirit, then you have faith, and then it shows up. Corey.
Yes. You're right. There's a process to it, but we've all been little children. We've all had baby teeth. And I think every one of us has had the experience where, a tooth gets loose a little bit, and you start playing with it, and your parents start playing with it, and play with it a little bit more, and it's not quite coming out yet. And then all of a sudden your parents will go, let me see it, and they just pull it right out, and it comes out. And then it's out forever. Belief systems are a little bit like that. The way our belief systems work, and our thoughts and our phobias, our values, we have a set pattern that has been created within us, spiritually and mentally. And for instance, hypnosis, people go to hypnotists to help them change, for instance, quitting smoking and all these things. And all hypnosis is actually a meditation, going into a meditation, and a hypnotist is allowing you to choose a different path in your body or in your mind or in your soul to the end result. It's not something that you don't know. We all know what it is we want to do in essence, mostly, even though we say we don't, we really do. We don't want to be in this bad situation, or we want to be in a good situation. But it's how do we get there? It's the choice of making that change. And quitting smoking is a really great example. I've worked with a lot of people to help them quit smoking. And the first thing I tell somebody when they want to stop smoking, I said, don't quit. And everybody go, what? Yeah, don't quit. Quitting smoking is difficult. It's going from this solid tooth to yanking it right out on your own. That's hard to do. It's very hard to do. But can you postpone a cigarette? And everybody can postpone. Like when we used to go to movies, people would go to a movie and sit in a 2-hour movie and not have to leave to have a cigarette, but they almost chain smokers when they're out of the theater. So you can postpone. So if you keep postponing whatever you want to do a little bit longer, a little bit longer, a little bit longer, that's how to create a belief, a habit, change a habit. And a belief is the same thing. Or the positive, as opposed to just wanting the change, understanding that there's a negative, that could be a negative, what's the word I'm looking for?
Outcome.
An outcome if you don't do it. For instance, one of my favorite ones, Leslie's heard this so many times. I had a client once who wanted to go to the gym, but they couldn't go to the gym. For some reason, they just couldn't make it there. It was so much trouble. So I said, okay, the first thing I did with them is I had them write me $1,000 check. And I put it, and we put the name on it to the charity that they hate the most in the world. And I said, okay, so the first time that you don't succeed, we're going to give that away to this charity. And so their eyes just went, wow, okay. So, but I said, don't worry, we'll get you there. So the first thing I said, for the next week, I want you to pack your bag, your gym bag, put it in your car. Don't go to the gym, just put it in your car, go home. Then that night, take your gym bag out, take your stuff out there. The next morning, pack your gym bag again, and do this for 1 week. So 1 week, they packed their gym bag. I said, then the next week, I said, I want you to drive to the gym. Take your gym bag, drive to the gym. Do not enter the gym, though. And they go, well, why? This is ridiculous. So they did it for the week. The next week, I said, okay, now I want you to go, pack your bag, drive to the gym, go in the gym, go in the door, come back out the door, go back into your car and drive home. And this sounded ridiculous, right? To them, they're going, what? Like if I'm there, I may as well work out. every day that week. They went to the gym, they packed their bag, they went in, they came back out. And the next week following, I said, now I want you to go to the, pack your bag, get in the car, drive to the gym, go in the gym and work out for a half hour, 15 minutes. 15 minutes is better time. So they worked out for 15 minutes and they never, and the thing is, they really wanted to work out. They wanted to go to the gym. They got into that habit now of going to the gym, even though there was no negativity around going to gym. It wasn't difficult. It was easy to do. The you know the packing of the bag, the driving to the gym, the whole thing. It was a simple change, but it was each change was radical in their life, and they didn't realize this until you look back. And that's when in you know, like with Nate saying, the best way to know if something has changed is to look back upon it. You know, hindsight has 20/20 vision. And so but you can make these changes and you can work with people to do this. Like Dr. Leslie is great with people, helping them make change in their life. It's phenomenal. And you can do it instantaneously, but you can also take small bites, but as long as you're dedicated. Right, Dr. Leslie?
Yeah, and back to Nate's question, which is how do you know? The other thing is that sometimes when you shift energy like that, you can feel it, you can sense it. I think you said that you weren't noticing a shift. Sometimes you can though. Sometimes you will feel different when you lift or release an energy from your system. And so that way is a way that you can know that you've created the change. You'll feel some kind of relief, or you know, quite often because you know, with the podcast and everything I do, there's often a lot of people paying attention to me. So sometimes I have those people's energy in my head. And so when I use the techniques, let's say releasing the foreign energy down my grounding and some of the other techniques, there will be an instant noticeable shift that I'll feel the energy popping out of my head, or my head will instantly feel a lot clearer. So I say sometimes you might not notice, and then it's a case of holding the vibration until the reality shifts. But sometimes you actually do notice the change that you've made instantly. So hopefully that helps you out, Nate.
Yeah, Nate says very helpful. Thank you both.
Good, good, good.
It's question time, Dr. Leslie.
I know.
We have one question from last week that we didn't answer that you wanted us to answer this week. You
Did
wanted to
I?
do this? Yes, from Wislava.
Oh, okay. What did she ask? I've
She
forgotten.
said, in your quiz, I've scored to be fit, because last week we talked about
Yes.
psychic abilities. So she said, in your quiz, I've scored to be 50% clairsentience and clairvoyance at 40, but I'm only 10% scholar. I have also wanted to know and experiment more, and therefore believe that my soul essence is of a scholar. Is it possible that within time and learning, plus years of practicing being a psychotherapist, my tendencies have changed? Do you have any idea how to improve my abilities? Also, I wonder how to tap into crystalline energy for guidance. Thank you very
I
much.
think we'll have to take that in two parts. And so the second part is a different question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so one of the things that was interesting to me was she said, I believe my soul essence is that of a scholar. And I wonder if she's misunderstanding the quiz. So we have this psychic ability quiz, listeners, on my website that you can enter, and it will tell you, are you more of a clairvoyant, like a psychic seer? Are you more claircognizant, like a psychic sage, a knower? Are you more clairaudient, someone with the gift of psychic hearing? Or are you like an empath? Are you clairsentient? And the fifth outcome that's possible in the quiz is a scholar. And I put that in there because what it's really saying is that are you more of these four different clair psychic abilities, or are you caught in your intellect? So the one that's a scholar isn't a psychic ability at all. It's relating more to being stuck in your intellect. And I put that in there because that one of the biggest things that gets people stuck on their psychic development is their intellect, is their mind. And we're also trained to be focused on using our intellect. I mean, we're talking about belief systems tonight and how the purpose of them is to help you navigate the 3D world. So your intellect is as well. So when Vaslava, who asked that question, is saying, well, I believe my soul essence is of that as a scholar, I don't think she's quite understanding what we mean as a scholar. And I think she's meaning something else, more like that her soul essence is relating to, I don't know, the accumulation of knowledge, and the communication of knowledge in a spiritual sense. And that's not what I'm meaning by scholar. And so, Vaslava, I wouldn't say that your outcome of only 10% scholar is invalidating what you're believing about yourself and your soul essence. I think you just maybe misinterpreted, what we meant by that. So she said, is it possible that my years as a psychotherapist has changed me? So what I would say to that is all life experience that we have changes us, because every experience we have is a new experience that we've never had before. It's a new experience that our soul has never had before. It's a new experience on earth that this planet hasn't seen before. So of course, everything that you do changes you. Everything that is something that feeds your evolution. So I would say for sure it could have changed you. And then the second part of her question, Corey, was about crystals.
Okay, her second part was learning practice of being a psychic. Do you have any idea how to improve my abilities? Also, I wonder how to tap into crystal energy for guidance.
Okay, so any idea how to improve my abilities? I've got lots of ideas about that. We're just about to start the next group of students on Unlock Your Intuition, Slava. I think that you've looked at potentially taking that course before. That course will definitely improve your intuition. So that would be my number one suggestion for that. And she said reading energy from crystals. Is that what she said?
Yes. No, not reading energy from crystals. Whoops. She says, also, I wonder how to tap into crystalline energy for guidance.
Okay. Well, I have to say how you tap into anything using your psychic abilities. So I think that will take us back to the Unlock Your Intuition course. All right, I think we should do another question now. I'm seeing that some people have posted some questions, at least in the Facebook group. So
yes, they have.
Yeah.
Afshin says, yes, I noticed a change when I ground or clear with cosmic energy light. I think that was in reference to Nate's question. And Beth says, who's stuck in their intellect? Who's stuck in their intellect? But patience to hold the vibration, she says. So it's all about trying to hold the vibration. That's very true. Actually, Dr. Leslie, you know what? I think we should take a break before we get into any more questions.
You're tuning into Unlocking Your Truth. We've been talking about belief systems tonight. We're moving into the third part of the show after the break, where we'll be taking listeners' questions. Welcome back, listeners. You're tuning in to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie. Tonight, we're talking about belief systems, but we are in the part of the show where we answer your questions. And so ask away, those people who are listening live in the Facebook group and on the YouTube channel. You don't have to limit your questions to the topic of the day, although you can ask questions about beliefs if you wish.
And the topic of the day is, let me read it to you once more. Why is it so hard to change anything on your list of beliefs and values? Okay, so this is from Afshin. And how do you know if it's your intuition guiding you or your controlling thoughts getting in the way?
Okay, well, that's a really great question. And it is one of the big questions that we answer in the Unlock Your Intuition Psychic Development course. So one of the things is I train you where to hold and position your consciousness. There is a difference in where you hold your conscious awareness when you are in your intellect and when you are giving free rein to your, your mind, versus to actually sit in the seat of the soul within the physical system. So one answer to that question is it becomes clearer to you when you have that training. Another answer is your intuition is instantaneous, whereas your thoughts are not instantaneous. They are linear. So your intuition is instant and it's multidimensional in a way. Your thoughts are linear. So let me see if I can give you another answer to that. And actually, it becomes very easy once you know how to seat your consciousness. So what we do in the Unlock Your Intuition course is we practice placing our consciousness in different locations within the body and outside the body, and experience the difference between if someone communicates with you and asks you a question. Like if I were to give you a sum right now, 2 plus 3 plus 5 plus 6, you would immediately move into the frontal lobes of your brain, and the computer part of your brain would add that up. That's the same part of your brain that is misfiring and having, these obsessive thoughts or these controlling thoughts. So learning the difference between the brain, which is part of the body, which is the computer system that's doing those things, and you as spirit. Because you as spirit don't have thoughts, actually. It's instant. It's instant self-knowledge. So the short answer to that question, I know I'm giving a kind of a long answer, is training. Another answer to that would be if it's clear, if it's clear and it's good guidance, it's your intuition. If it's confusing and muddled and you're going round and round in circles and then it isn't.
Well, that's mine.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's funny. I said it was mine, but it like that actually melds into what we're talking about today. If you're feeling something or you're getting what you think might be intuition, but it's muddled up, it doesn't necessarily have to be your thoughts, because it is possible for someone else's energy to enter your space, and unless you guard from that, it's pretty difficult. Unless you know what you're doing, unless you understand what you're doing, it's pretty difficult to realize that that's happening. I mean, it happens to me. It happens to Dr. Leslie sometimes. She'd be having an off day, and then she come back to me. She said, "I realize what it is. It's I had a client do blah blah blah, and she's in my space." And so it's very important to understand it's not always you. It's not always you. Sometimes it's someone else, and you have to learn how to, like stop
Yeah.
that.
I mean, that Unlock Your Intuition course I developed by really understanding with the people I work with what the main blocks and points of confusion were. And it's really common for people to get confused between their intellect and their intuition, their ego and their intuition, their emotions and their intuition, you know, even their pain body and their intuition. So we all have all of these different incoming signals all the time coming in at different levels of our being, and some of them are at the body level. The ones that are at the body level are the intellect and the emotions, you know, and the ego and so on. And so one of the prime things that we're doing when we're developing the psychic abilities is learning the difference between body and spirit. You are spirit. Your psychic senses are your spiritual communication system. You are not your body. Your intellect, your emotions, and all of that is part of your body. So knowing the difference between body and spirit, experiencing yourself directly as spirit. And when you have that direct experience, then you know this is me and this is my body. And there is a difference between these things.
Very much so. I think I jumped the gun on that last explanation, because Anil says, hi there, how do I clear my environment and ask that just my energy is in my space? I'm being bombarded by loved ones and others that need help, but I myself am tired. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and that's such a common thing, isn't it? And again, the key to developing your psychic abilities, like Corey was saying, it's to own your space. My favorite analogy, I've probably said it multiple times on the show, is your energy field. It's the filter through which you experience reality. If that filter is clogged, then you're going to feel exhausted and you're not going to be able to see clearly. So, and again, that's an important part of the Unlock Your Intuition course. That's one of the things that we're training you to do, is how to own your space. So it's not actually, yes, keeping your environment clear, but more than that, owning your own energy field. It's your energy field. It's not meant to be open house to other people's energy. So there are many techniques that I teach that help you to do that. The first one is available for free on my website, and it's called grounding. So grounding is a method where you create a flow of energy from your first chakra to the center of the earth. That one of the things that does is it brings your high vibration energy into your energy system. So now you are here, present, awake, aware within your own energy field. Because most people, believe it or not, are not even in their bodies. They're floating off out in space somewhere. So number one, you got to come in here. If you want to own it, you got to enter the room. So number one, grounding helps you enter the room. Number two, grounding helps you release energy. And it helps you actually release any energy. So just as Nate was talking about earlier, you can just be having the notion that you're releasing foreign energy down your grounding, that you're releasing and letting go of your relatives down your grounding. The other thing is, it sounds like you've probably got some what I call responsibility pictures. So tonight's theme is belief systems. So what are you believing that is allowing their energy to be in your space? Are you believing you need to please them? Are you believing you need to save them? Are you believing you need to keep them happy? Are you believing that you are responsible for them? You could have a whole system of beliefs that are meaning that you're operating from a framework that's allowing that to happen. And it's always the case, actually. Somebody doesn't get into our space if there's not something that we're doing or believing that's allowing them to do that. So examine your belief systems. What are you believing that's allowing that to happen? You can use the grounding to release and let go of the belief systems. And like I said, the grounding is where it starts, but then there are many other energy techniques that we can use to own our space more and to cleanse and clear our space more and to protect our space. And if you're looking for a really strong foundation in that, check out my Unlock Your Intuition course. We're starting in about 10 days with the next group of students. And so, and I've been teaching it for about 5 years, and there's had so many, I've got more testimonials than I can put on the website about it. So there's lots of proof that is an amazing decision that you can make for yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Leslie. When you start talking about this, when you're talking about people in your space, there's other languages that you can use as well, other language that you can use as well for that. And I think people connect with you. You connect, like when you're talking about an emotional or spiritual getting together, it's called a connection. And so if you take that word connection a little bit further, there's a thing called courting, CHORDING. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but courting is when somebody connects to you, whether you want it or not, and they attach themselves to you. And it sounds like this is what's happening to you when you say, how do I clear my environment and just have my energy in my space? Courting is a very it's a very drastic thing to do to someone, and the problem is you don't really know that you're doing it. In most cases, you're not aware that you're doing it to somebody. I remember a few years ago, but almost 20 years ago now, I had an emotional experience with somebody that left me just zapped. And I was sitting with a friend of mine talking to her about this, and she was listening to me, and she at one point she just put her hand up, said, "Stop." I said, "When we stop?" She says, "Well, the languages coming out of your mouth, what you're saying to me is not you. You never, ever, ever spoke like that. You never speak like that. You're not that person. What is this?" And then she said, this person that we were talking about, they've courted you. They're attached to you. It's like marionettes. They're just moving you around. They're moving your emotions, and you're feeling their emotion in your life. And you need to cut those. And there are ways, as Dr. Leslie would say, there are ways that you can do that. And if you go into meditation, and you sit there and you focus and ask your guides, ask your higher self, am I being courted? Is somebody connecting to me without my wanting them to do so? It will become evident to you. I mean, I looked at myself, and my back had 3 or 4, actually about 5 of these cords that were about this big. It stuck to my back, just sucking on it. And I had to learn a way to just cut those cords and not allow them back. And as soon as I did, it was my life just completely changed. It was incredible.
Yeah, there are different ways that you can, foreign energy can enter your space, and plugging into you through energy cords is one of them. And energy cords are usually very invasive and disrespectful, actually. And like Corey said, it can be a way for somebody to control and manipulate you. It's not always an energy cord. It can be more insidious than that, more general than that.
And on purpose sometimes. It's not always,
Yeah, I mean, in families, people just tend to merge energy. They just tend to match the same vibration and all merge together.
Yeah. Which is interesting when you think about it. If you've been with somebody for a while and you are on the same level energy-wise, you start reading each other's minds. And it's funny, but it makes sense because it's just the vibration that's going through, and like all your thoughts and feelings are energetic or energy. So you're actually feeling this energy, and you're more I don't know if it's as much reading minds and telepathy as it is feeling energy, like
sort of
feeling
an entrainment, synchronized energy waves.
Yeah.
I can see a couple of questions.
Yes, there's a couple more here.
Beth on.
Yes, I've got one from Dylan first, I think. Yes, from Dylan first, and let me just copy this one down. Dylan says, "Hello, I'm very new to UYT and many of these ideas, but I connect with so much of what you share about intuition. I'm excited to continue exploring all of this. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Dylan. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a little. It's not always. It doesn't always come easily either. Sometimes it's a struggle. But we're here to help, and so are the people in the group as well. And this one's from Beth. Beth says, do beliefs enter the subconscious? Because it seems that many of our beliefs are not really true. And how does spirit interact with your beliefs?
So definitely many of your beliefs are part of your subconscious or unconscious. And the second part of the question was?
How does spirit interact with your beliefs?
How does spirit interact with your beliefs? Well, I guess we've been talking about that, which is as you are spirit, and when you become awakened as spirit within the physical system, you can get to consciously decide what beliefs you want to have. So I would say that's one way that spirit can interact with the beliefs. Another way is to say that some of the beliefs that you're programmed with are on purpose to give you a particular life experience that you're wanting. So let's say your life purpose is to experience, to transcend feelings of worthlessness. So on some higher level, your higher being may be complicit in creating the scenario of you feeling unworthy. But the purpose in that is that you, the one with the feet on the ground, is going to finally realize that that unworthiness is a non-supportive false belief and let it go and replace it with a more positive belief. So I think that there are different ways that spirit interacts with the beliefs.
I was asked about, but first of all, got a couple of good comments thanking us. Davina says, thank you for that, Corey. I've experienced courting, but never knew there was a term for it. And Anil says, thank you very much for the courting imagery. Both of your answers are adept and helpful. I appreciate your help. And also somebody wanted to know if she wanted, can you share details of your course on intuition through a link in the comments? And I just put a link here to the intuition course. And you know what, Dr. Leslie?
What?
That brings us to the end of the show again.
Oh, I don't think we got to all the questions tonight.
Yes, we did. Actually, Faye just asked one.
Oh, I thought I saw a different one.
And we can answer Faye's question as the last question. She says, is this where surrender plays a role? If it's in our path, it's meant to be, might as well accept it?
So I guess she was talking about responding to what I was saying about your higher being.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but tonight I'm needing you to read everything to me twice. Yeah. Today's one of those days. Can you read it to me again, please, Corey?
I can, yes.
Yeah.
Is this where surrender plays a role? If it's in our path, it's meant to be, might as well accept it.
So I'm going to answer with a paradox, which is to agree and disagree. So yes, that was kind of what I was meaning. But I would also say you have free will in everything in your life. And so in the becoming conscious of it, so we're not saying, oh, you have unworthiness, therefore accept that you're unworthy. What we're saying is unworthiness might be a part of your path, but once you become conscious of the unworthiness, then it's within your power and free will to change that and to create a different experience of reality. Well, listeners, thank you for tuning in to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and Corey. And we will see you next Tuesday at 7 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time.
Yes, see you all. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.